All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to tackle a piece of AWS that can feel a little tricky at first, creating a public subnet. Now, I know it sounds complicated, but trust me, we're going to break it down so simply that you'll get it in just the next few minutes.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. The goal here isn't to get lost in a bunch of technical jargon. It's to build a really clear picture in your head, so you can stop worrying about the complex stuff and just start building with confidence.
So when it comes right down to it, this is the big question we're trying to answer. You've got this server, right? Your EC2 instance, just sitting there in the cloud. How in the world do you make it so people on the internet can get to it? And just as important, how does it talk back? Well, that connection, that's what a public subnet does.
Okay, so let's boil this all down to one single idea. A public subnet is just a chunk of your cloud network where your server can talk to the internet and the internet can talk back. That's it. And to make that happen, you really only need to remember 3 key things.
Yep, that's it. Just 3. Not 10, not 20. If you can just push all the other noise aside and really focus on these 3 core pieces, I promise the rest of AWS networking is going to start clicking into place.
So here they are. First up, you need a door to the outside world. We call that an internet gateway. Second, you need a road with signs that actually point to that door. That's your route table. And finally, your server itself needs a public address so people can find it, and it needs permission for visitors to actually come in. That's your public IP and the security group rule.
To make this even clearer, let's build on that analogy a little bit. I want you to imagine that your entire AWS cloud is like a private gated neighborhood. Seriously, get that picture in your head because it's going to be our guide for the rest of this.
So let's map this out. That techie term, VPC, that's your whole private neighborhood. A subnet, that's just one single street inside that neighborhood. The Internet Gateway, or IGW, well, that's the main gate for the whole community, the one place traffic can get in and out. The route table is maybe the most important part. It's the street signs telling everyone how to find the main gate. And the security group? Think of it like a bouncer standing at the front door of your specific house, your server, checking a list to see who's allowed inside. All right, now that we've got that picture in our heads, let's actually start building. We'll kick things off with part A, putting together the network itself. Think of this part like we're laying down the asphalt for our new street and putting up all the signs.
So first things first, you create your neighborhood. That's the VPC. Then you lay down a specific street inside it. That's your subnet. And then you build the main gate for the whole community, the Internet Gateway. Now the key here is that last little step. You have to attach that gate to your VPC. I mean, a gate sitting in the middle of a field is pretty useless if it's not connected to the fence, right?
Okay, next up, we got to get people on our street directions on how to get out. So we create a new set of street signs. That's our route table. Then we add a very specific sign that basically says, hey, if you're trying to go anywhere that's not in this neighborhood, you need to go to the main gate. And finally, we actually put those signs up on our street by connecting that route table to our subnet.
And this right here, this is the magic rule. The one street sign that makes all the difference. You're going to see 0.0.0.0/0 everywhere in networking. It's just a fancy way of saying any and all traffic that isn't going to another house inside this neighborhood, and that little arrow, it tells that traffic exactly where to go, straight to the Internet Gateway. This one rule is what makes your street, your subnet, officially public.
And just like that, our public street is ready to go. The infrastructure is all in place. So it's time for part B, building our house, the EC2 server, and actually moving it onto the street.
Now, as you're launching your server, you're going to hit this one setting that is absolutely critical: auto-assign public IP. If you turn this on, it's like getting a public mailing address that the whole world can use to find your house. If you leave it off, your house is basically invisible from the outside. So for a public web server, you got to have this enabled.
All right, let's talk about the bouncer, the security group. We have to give them a guest list, right? So we'll tell it, hey, let anyone who's coming for the website in. That's HTTP traffic on port 80 from anywhere. But, and this is super important, for a backdoor, for administrative access using SSH on port 22, we tell the bouncer only let traffic in from my specific IP address. This is key for security. Let everybody see the website, but only let yourself manage the server.
So, let's put it all together. You launch your new server on the street that we just built, you make sure it gets that public address, you set up the bouncer's guest list, maybe add a little script to automatically install a simple web page, and then it's the moment of truth. You pop that public IP into your browser and see if it all worked.
Okay, but what happens when it doesn't work? You hit refresh and you get nothing. First off, don't panic. There's a super simple checklist you can run through, and guess what? It follows those exact same 3 concepts we started with. Just go down the list, one by one. First, does your house even have a public address? If the answer is no, well, of course the internet can't find it. Second, are the street signs on your street actually pointing towards the main gate? If not, traffic can't get in or out. And third, is the bouncer actually letting web traffic through the front door? If not, every visitor is just going to get turned away. Seriously, this little checklist, it'll solve probably 99% of your connection problems.
And that's it. That's the whole process. You've built the door, you've paved the road, you've set up the address, you now have a server that is live on the internet, ready for the world. So the only real question left is, now that the door is wide open, what amazing thing are you going to build? Thanks for joining me.